Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really taking a scalpel to one of the most fascinating NBA roster moves of this past preseason. It's a transaction that, on paper looks completely routine. A team cuts a two-way player. It happens all the time.
Right. It's business as usual.
But this one became a global flashpoint almost immediately. It fused this emotional underdog story with the cold, hard reality of NBA business. We're focusing on the Chicago Bulls decision, which came down in mid-October 2025 to waive the Japanese guard, Yuki Kawamura.
A huge fan favorite.
Huge. And look, if you follow the league, you know the preseason is a meat grinder. It just is.
Oh, absolutely.
Roster spots are completely fluid. You have guys coming in on Exhibit 10s. Two-ways are getting finalized. Teams are just looking for those last few pieces. It's this annual churn that, honestly, most casual fans don't even see.
But this one was different.
This was very different. The Kawamura cut generated this really intense online backlash.
Especially internationally.
Yes, especially from audiences who felt the move wasn't just, pragmatic, but maybe even, in their words, classless.
And that's the tension. That's why this really merits a deep dive.
Yeah.
We've pulled together everything we could find. The official announcements, news reports on his performance, the injury details, and maybe most importantly, that digital firestorm that just blew up after he was waived and the Bulls immediately signed Trenton Flowers.
Right.
So our mission today is to really get past the emotion and just find the facts. We need to lay out the timeline, look at the medical reason the Bulls gave.
And we have to look at the numbers.
Exactly. We have to dissect what Kawamura was actually doing on the court, both those very limited NBA stats and his really impressive G League production, because that data, that's what informs the whole fan argument about his real value.
And then we have to get into that razor-thin balance between a legitimate medical risk and, a team just preferring a different type of player, a bigger player.
Especially when you have huge international marketability on the other side of the scale.
We are absolutely going to drill down on all of it, because this isn't just about one guy losing a roster spot. This is a case study about a very unique player, a 5'8" guard, an Olympian, and how the modern NBA just calculates everything against size and injury risk.
Let's do it.
So let's unpack this, starting with the exact timeline and the very specific reason the team gave for the move.
Okay.
All right, let's start with the hard facts, the timeline of the decision. The critical date here is October 17th, 2025.
That's the day the announcement comes from the Chicago Bulls.
And it's important to first establish the kind of commitment the Bulls had already made to him. Kawamura wasn't just like a training camp body on a non-guaranteed deal.
No, not at all.
He had shown enough, mostly in Summer League, to earn a two-way contract with Chicago.
And that two-way status is so important to understand here. For anyone listening who might not be super familiar with the contract details,
Right.
A two-way contract basically splits a player's time between the NBA team and their G League affiliate. It's designed for these developmental guys. They're maybe too good for the G League full-time, but not quite ready for that full 15-man NBA roster.
It's a real vested commitment. It's limited, sure, but it means the team controls your rights and wants to develop you.
It's a sign of belief in your future.
But the friction point, the real moment this whole thing ignited, was the official reason they gave for cutting him.
The Bulls' PR department was very specific.
Very specific. The announcement wasn't just Yuki Kawamura has been waived. It was that he was released due to a medical condition.
And we know from the reports leading up to this that he had already been sidelined during the preseason.
He was having some issues.
The symptom they cited was lower leg pain, an issue in that area.
Right.
And when a team publicly frames a cut using a medical condition, that immediately changes the whole conversation.
It's no longer about skill.
Exactly. It's not he wasn't good enough or he didn't fit our system. It becomes about health and risk. The implication is that the player either can't perform or the risk of a long-term injury is just too high to keep that roster spot tied up.
But the fans, both here and especially internationally, they were not buying that narrative. Not at all.
The skepticism was immediate.
And you know why? It was the speed of what happened next. The Bulls didn't just waive Kawamura and, take their time finding a replacement.
No, they moved with a speed that it heightened all the suspicion.
Instantly.
Immediately after announcing Kawamura was waived for an injury, remember, the Bulls filled that two-way slot by signing Trenton Flowers.
It wasn't just roster management. It was a hard, immediate pivot.
Right. When you cut a guy for an injury and fill his spot with a healthy player who has a completely different profile, within hours.
It makes the whole thing look strategic. Like the medical reason was just the convenient excuse to clear space for a guy you already wanted.
And the difference in player profiles here is so central to this whole thing. It tells you everything about the team's thinking.
Totally. Kawamura is a 5'8" classic point guard. He's known for his passing, his quickness.
Flowers.
Flowers is a 6'7" wing. He's also younger, only 20 years old, so he fits that longer developmental timeline better than the 24-year-old Kawamura.
And Flowers' own story is important here, too. He spent his rookie season, the 2024-25 season, on a two-way deal with the Clippers.
Right.
And just days before the Bulls grabbed him, the Clippers had cut him. And crucially, he cleared waivers. That made him an unrestricted free agent.
He was just available, sitting there.
Yep. He had accepted a two-way qualifying offer from the Clippers, which came with a partial guarantee, something like $85,000. But once he cleared waivers, that obligation was gone, and the Bulls could just swoop in and sign him freely.
So if you just look at this from a cold roster-building perspective,
Which is how front offices operate.
they released a specialized, undersized guard who was hurt and immediately replaced him with a high-upside, long, versatile 6'7" wing who was healthy.
That sends a very loud signal, regardless of the medical justification.
And to really get the full context, you have to zoom out a bit because this wasn't the only move the Bulls made that week.
They were fine-tuning.
They were operating in this very methodical, almost clinical way, which makes the Kawamura situation feel even more pointed.
You're talking about the Mac McClung move.
Exactly. The parallel transaction.
Yeah.
The Bulls waived Mac McClung, the three-time slam dunk champ, just hours after signing him to an Exhibit 10 contract.
Right, the sign and waive. And that can be confusing for people, but it's standard practice.
It is. Can you break that down?
Sure. It's really the difference between clean, normal business and what happened with Kawamura, which had complicated optics. An Exhibit 10 sign and waives is just a mechanism for G League control. The team signs him, then immediately waives him. But because of that specific contract, they get to keep his G League rights. They can assign him directly to their affiliate, the Windy City Bulls.
And he gets a bonus for it.
He does. If McClung stays with the G League team for a certain number of days, he gets a bonus, usually around $75,000. It's a tool for keeping developmental talent in your system without using a precious two-way or full roster spot. It's transparent. It's transactional.
Okay, now compare that clean transactional move with the Kawamura one. McClung's fate was decided by contract structure. Kawamura's was decided by a medical condition that just so happened to free up a two-way spot.
A spot that was then immediately used for a player with a completely different physical profile.
So the core question really becomes this. Was the medical condition just another mechanism? A less transparent one used to clear a two-way slot when Flowers, this bigger, more desirable developmental player, suddenly became available.
Or was the injury completely genuine and the signing of Flowers was just, good timing, an opportunistic grab?
And the Bulls have to state the medical truth legally.
They do, but it's the timing. It's all about the timing. If the injury was serious enough to keep him from playing or developing in the near term, the front office has a duty to the team to maximize that developmental spot.
But like you said, when you cut an injured guy and fill the spot with a player who fits the league's obsession size and switchability, the narrative just shifts.
The public sees the medical issue as the excuse, not the root cause.
But wait, hold on. Even if it's a two-way player, if you're citing a medical reason, shouldn't there be some expectation that you help the guy recover?
That's the heart of the fan anger.
I mean, he was good enough to earn the two-way in the first place. Isn't just waiving him immediately really bad optics no matter what?
In a perfect world, yes. But you have to remember the hierarchy of commitment in the NBA. A two-way deal is the lowest rung on that ladder.
So it's expendable.
It is. If Kawamura's injury required, let's say, extended rehab, the team has to weigh two things. One, the investment in his recovery while that valuable slot sits empty. And two, the need to use that slot on a player who can contribute now or who just fits a higher upside profile.
And the Bulls made their choice very clear.
They signaled that, given the risk with Kawamura and the opportunity with Flowers, they chose immediate efficiency. The optics are terrible for the fans who bought into the story.
But it's ruthless business.
It's the ruthless business of roster construction. For you listening, this is a perfect example of how business needs can just instantly dictate the story, no matter how popular a player is.
Okay, we have to move past mechanics now and really dive into the player himself, the Yuki Kawamura file. To understand the intensity here, you have to get the story he was already writing in the league. He came in with this ready-made underdog narrative.
Absolutely. He's 24, so he didn't come to the NBA as like a one-and-done college kid. He was already a veteran star in Japan's B League. He's a national team player. He's in the 2024 Paris Olympics. He's played against top-tier NBA and European talent.
His initial path into the league was really impressive, too.
It was. He signed an Exhibit 10 with the Memphis Grizzlies, which is a minimal risk deal for the team. But he turned that into a two-way contract right before the season started.
That's a rapid promotion.
It shows he was exceeding expectations right out of the gate, that his professional skill transcended his physical size.
And his size is the foundation of the entire narrative, right?
It is.
At 5'8", he was the shortest active player in the league when he was with Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
In a league where everyone is 6'5" or bigger, a guy giving up a foot in height just automatically has that compelling underdog appeal.
And in Memphis, even with almost no playing time, he wasn't just, there. He was embraced.
Yeah, the reports said he won over fans' respect and, this is critical, he developed a rapport with star Ja Morant.
That detail is so important.
Why?
Because bonding with a team superstar like that suggests immediate acceptance in the locker room. It means your skill and your character are respected, which is rare for an undersized end-of-the-bench guy.
And then when he got to Chicago, that appeal just continued, even in those little flashes we saw.
Mm-hmm. Fans noted he dazzled with no-look passes and swift handles. He made great passes in his limited preseason action.
So this is evidence of a high basketball IQ, high-level vision, the exact skills the NBA says it wants, even from smaller guards.
But now we have to shift from that, the dazzling handles and the underdog charm to the cold, hard numbers.
The quantitative analysis.
And this is where the difference in opportunity is just shocking.
Let's lay out his NBA stats from that rookie season with Memphis. He played in 22 total games.
Which sounds okay on the surface.
Until you see the minutes. He averaged a paltry 4.2 minutes per game.
Wow. 4.2.
If you do the math, that's just over 92 minutes of playing time total for the entire season.
That's basically 2 full games worth of minutes spread across 22 appearances.
You cannot evaluate a player's NBA potential on that. It's impossible. It's all garbage time, fragmented opportunities.
And the raw stats show that. 1.6 points, 0.5 rebounds, 0.9 assists per game. The shooting numbers are just as unreliable.
Because of the low volume?
Exactly. He shot 36.7% from the field, but that was on only 30 total shots for the season. He shot 30.4% from 3 on just 23 attempts.
So really, these NBA stats are almost meaningless for gauging his actual potential.
They're just a reflection of a guy at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
To get a real sense of what he can do, you have to look where he was actually given a real role.
Which means we have to pivot entirely to his G League production.
And the difference is staggering. This contrast is the entire statistical basis for the fan outrage.
With the Memphis Hustle, the Grizzlies G League team, he wasn't a bench warmer. He was a leader.
He played 31 games, averaging 31.6 minutes per game.
So a 7-fold increase in opportunity compared to his NBA time.
And the production matches the usage perfectly. His G League averages: 12.7 points, 8.5 assists, 3.1 rebounds, and a steal per game.
Let's pause on that assist number.
We have to. 8.5 assists per game. That is an elite number for a primary playmaker in any professional league.
How elite?
That number would consistently put him in the top 5, often top 3, in the entire G League for that season. It signals real high-level facilitating. He can run an offense, he can read defenses, he can find open guys. It proves he's a legitimate, high-volume primary ball handler.
That's massive. It confirms the talent and the vision are absolutely there. The 5'8" height didn't stop him from running a pro offense.
And his shooting was better with volume, too. 0.383 from the field, 0.365 from 3, 0.761 from the line.
That 36.5% from 3 in the G League is a really important number. It shows he's a legitimate threat from outside, which is a must for any small guard in today's NBA.
So this is why the anger was so deep. Fans felt the Bulls cut a proven, high-end developmental asset who specializes in a premium skill passing because he got hurt, and he's not tall.
They denied him the opportunity his own stats suggested he'd earn.
Right. The data screams NBA developmental guard. The team's decision screened size and health over everything else.
So we have this perfect storm, a medical waiving, an immediate replacement who fits the modern ideal, and a 5'8" player with elite stats who is a global fan favorite.
And that potent mix is what launched that intense global reaction we saw everywhere.
The criticism of the Bulls was immediate, and it was pointed. We saw fans saying things like, used him for motion, then ditched him classless.
Let's focus on that word, motion.
Yeah.
When fans say that, they're implying he was just a short-term marketing tool. He gets clicks, he brings international eyes to the preseason, which is normally a dead zone for ratings. The cynical view is that once that motion was done and it was time for real roster cuts, he was just discarded.
Another fan put it more emotionally. Tough pill to swallow. Yuki dazzled with no-look passes, captivating us from day one. Thanks for the magic. You'll dominate defenses elsewhere soon.
And that highlights that the connection was based on his exciting style of play.
Right.
It wasn't just about his nationality.
And the arguments weren't just emotional. They were based on what they saw as his value. One comment said he earned his spot much more than most 12, 14-man players on every team.
That's the core belief.
Yeah.
That his production, those 8.5 assists, should have mattered more than a minor injury or short-term concerns.
But the debate really escalated beyond just basketball fit and into the bigger business question.
The tension between basketball ops and international branding.
This is where the marketing angle became the whole debate.
And this is the toughest calculation for any front office. A fan pointed it out directly, saying, wouldn't you think about keeping him from a marketing perspective?
Still a lot of people in Japan, they love their international sports people.
And he's not that bad.
Yeah.
More a G-leaguer, but still. Hope he finds another team.
That quote just forces you to look at the economics. The Japanese market for the NBA is huge, and it's passionate.
When the Rockets drafted Yao Ming, the economic impact was transformative. Jersey sales, broadcast deals.
Kawamura isn't Yao Ming.
No, but he represents guaranteed, if marginal, revenue. From merchandise, from regional partnerships. There's real money there.
So the front office has this direct conflict. Do we keep the injured, undersized player who's a proven market driver in a key region?
Or do we prioritize the immediate health and superior positional profile of the 6'7" wing, Flowers, who fits the modern game better?
Let's talk about that positional value. Why is a 6'7" wing so much more valuable today?
It's all about switchability. The league has moved away from small, dedicated point guards. A 6'7" wing, like Flowers, can potentially guard 3, maybe 4 positions.
Which creates defensive flexibility.
A flexibility that a 5'8" player, no matter how skilled, just cannot offer. He's an inherent defensive liability against the bigger guards and wings in the league today.
So Flowers, the 6'7" wing, he's the preferred mold. A lower floor maybe, but a much, much higher ceiling because of his physical tools.
By making that swap, the Bulls basically signaled that the basketball benefit of adding Flowers outweighed the entire Yuki Kawamura brand and the investment in his recovery.
When you cite a medical issue for a fan favorite, you're explicitly saying that basketball function comes before cultural goodwill.
Which brings us right back to the transparency question and that perception gap the timing created.
This is what fueled the whole using him for clicks accusation.
Yeah.
He was waived with a medical condition, but the Bulls had a fully healthy, ready-to-go replacement lined up instantly.
For the fans, the implication was that the Bulls needed that two-way spot for Flowers.
And the injury just gave them the cleanest excuse to open it up. It gives them cover. They didn't cut him because he's 5'8". They cut him because he was physically unable to perform.
For a two-way deal, releasing an injured player just raises these questions about commitment. It confirms for the player and for the fans that the developmental relationship is purely transactional.
And since he had played so well in his preseason flashes, the speed of it just felt like a betrayal. It confirmed they were just prioritizing the ideal body type over proven skill.
It's that ultimate collision. The cold efficiency of the business machine versus the passionate investment of the global fan who loves an underdog.
For the Bulls, it was a necessary pivot. For the fan base, it just felt wrong.
So after this, well, ruthless business move, where does this leave Yuki Kawamura?
The immediate reality is that he's not on an NBA roster, and his future is, it's pretty cloudy, especially with the questions around that leg injury.
That's the tough part. He's an unrestricted free agent, but now he has this official label of being waived for medical reasons.
And his history with the Grizzlies doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. We had to remember Memphis didn't give him a qualifying offer, a QO, before he signed with Chicago.
Explain what that means.
A QO would have made him a restricted free agent, meaning Memphis could match any offer he got. By not giving him one, they basically said they were willing to let him walk for nothing.
So his hold on a roster spot was already shaky.
It suggests that even before the injury, Organizations were tentative about his long-term NBA fit, likely because of his size. The Bulls deal was his second chance, and it got cut short.
But despite all that, we can't ignore the numbers. The statistical evidence of what he can do is his greatest asset right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the argument his agent is making. We have to reiterate those G League stats, 12.7 points, and then incredible 8.5 assists per game.
You can't just dismiss that kind of production.
That high assist rate proves he has the core talent to be a floor general. It confirms his height, while a defensive challenge doesn't stop him from running a professional offense. The talent is there.
So the only questions are, 1, can he fully recover from the leg issue? And 2, can he find a team that's willing to prioritize his unique playmaking over the league-wide obsession with length?
He needs a team willing to accept the defensive trade-off for the offensive organization he provides.
And the fan demand is still there. People want to see him sign somewhere sooner rather than later. That gives him a certain cultural leverage, even if the Bulls didn't value it.
So, based on what we know, let's look at the 2 most likely paths for him, assuming the injury isn't a long-term chronic thing.
Okay.
Scenario 1 is the return trip through the NBA developmental system. This means he has to prove he's 100% healthy. He'd probably look for another Exhibit 10 or a two-way deal with a team that needs point guard depth or just a veteran leader for their G League squad.
And with 8.5 assists per game on his resume, he's an obvious target for a G League team that needs a facilitator.
Right. But it means grinding through the G League all over again, proving his health and consistency, and just hoping for a 10-day call-up.
The downside there is the instability. You're just moving from one minimal commitment to the next, always fighting that perception about your size.
But the reward is keeping the NBA dream alive.
And scenario 2.
Scenario 2 is returning home to the B League in Japan. If an NBA chance doesn't pop up quickly, he has an extremely attractive option waiting for him.
He's already a huge star there.
A veteran star, an Olympian,
Yeah.
a massive draw. He gets financial stability, guaranteed playing time, and immediate superstar status.
But professionally, that would pretty much halt his NBA dream.
For the foreseeable future, yes. It's the secure path, but it's the path of compromise when it comes to the NBA.
At the end of the day, the Yuki Kawamura situation just shows that for an undersized player, the margin for error is razor thin. A medical issue, even a temporary one, can be the one thing that ends your opportunity. It overrides great stats, it overrides fan appeal.
The NBA is a business of health, size, and potential. And for the 5'8" guard, the cost of being imperfect is often immediate.
So as we close out this deep dive, the story of Yuki Kawamura and the Bulls is just this perfect, if painful, case study in the harsh reality of how NBA rosters are built.
You have the core tension. A swift, defensible business decision based on risk and positional need, clashing with the passionate global support for a unique talent.
The Bulls made a cold, rational calculation. They swapped an injured 5'8" guard for a healthy 6'7" wing. They aligned their developmental plan with the modern league's obsession with length.
And this case just illustrates how fast that business machine can move. Marketability, popularity. They're secondary when a front office sees a medical risk or a better physical fit.
It was fast, it was ruthless, but it was driven by the need to build the best roster for tomorrow, even if it hurts fan enthusiasm today.
But the numbers? The 12.7 points and 8.5 assists, those facts don't change.
And that leads us to the final thought we want to leave with.
It connects his proven talent to the physical realities that challenge his dream. If a 5'8" guard is putting up elite passing numbers in the G League, the best developmental league in the world, does the medical risk from a lower leg issue truly override a team's willingness to invest in that unique talent?
Or is the NBA just evolving to a point where 5'8" centers is no longer a viable height for a rotation player, no matter how skilled you are, and no matter how many fans you have around the world?
That's the question Yuki Kawamura is facing, and it's the calculus every team has to make when they choose size over skill.